Welcome to chapter number 12. This is the last chapter of this course, Project Communication Management. See, communication is the key of any endeavor, I can say. See, ultimately, when it is human endeavor, the proper communication between different human beings is going to be a great factor in success. So let us explore that. Now, what is communication management? It is a process, obviously, that ensure right message are sent and received and understood, most importantly, by the right people. So the message should be clear and very subjective, contextual, and it should go to the right person. That is very important in the communication management. Communication management is critically important to project manager and can be seen in terms of 5 steps that are used to explore project objectivities and find. So there are important steps that we have to understand. But for project manager, communication is vital to build the team, to harness the team, to motivate the team, to get the things done, right? So that is what is important. So what are the elements, basic 5 elements of the communication? First, sender and receiver. That means stakeholders, maybe whoever you are talking to, right? So when you are talking to employees, your top reporting officer, whoever. So the message is passing from whom to whom. So we have to follow many times proper protocols, especially when you're talking in proper sense to respect to people. Then means of communication or media of communication. There are many nowadays with the technological support. We have various means of communication. We'll see that. Then message itself, the content of the message, the actual information associated with the message should be vital. Then feedback between the sender and receiver. Many times the communication is going to be to and fro. So the feedback is ultimately response, we can say, received from the senders and receiver. Now, what is the quality of the message? How do you define the quality of the message? The belief, values, the emotional impact of the message, and the medium employed. So, basic belief reflect through the message of that person. Basic values, belief, and emotional attachment, which is there in the sender's feelings, also we can say, that we can pass through this message. So this is very vital. And medium is which phone, email, WhatsApp messages, SMS, all those are different mediums which are employed that determine the quality. These variables and others often referred as the noise. So there are multiple variables. The media itself is can be a noise. Sometimes when you're talking on the phone, that there are disturbances. So that sort of noise is also there because of which the communication is not operating properly, or there are call drops. That also the noise, we can say, when the communication is getting breaks. Even the noise can be a communication language itself, the words used in that language, that matters. So that is what is something called noise. The communication process will always be a setting up the influence of results, outcomes and influence of results. So it should be sensible enough to make an impact, and it should be contextual, and it should involve the time and space and the structure. So all the context has to be taken into consideration. What time you are talking, and which place you are talking, and what will be your structure of communication. So all those elements are to be taken into consideration when you are making communication. Now, what is effective communication? Effective communication is well managed communication between various teams or groups, okay, especially in the project. And many projects may be happening internationally. So you have different branches, so your teams are sitting in different countries, and every team is contributing in that project. So there may be multiple stakeholder. Your customer can be sitting in somewhere else. So the communication flow and the development of the project, is very, very vital, and they are interlinked. So that you have to take care. Good communication keep conflicts and confusion from bogging from the project down to ensure key players are aligned. So your conflicts and confusion, this is very important. You should keep it as minimum as possible. Conflicts and confusion. It should be your communication should be very clear and contextual, which ensure that your project align, all players are aligned on the common goal. Okay, and we expect that whatever outcome you are looking for. So that is what is the ultimate objective of effective communication. Now you can have effective communication plan. It is not that haphazardly you can do effective communication. You should have plans for doing so. So communication management can organize a document process. So you can set the process with proper documentation and expectations of the communication that you can define. Stakeholders. So how do you plan that? First, you have to focus on the stakeholders for communication and their hierarchy, their protocols that you should take into consideration of communication requirements. And you can even think of structure of communication document. Information will originate from and whom it will be propagated. So hierarchy that you are going to follow for communication, because many time in especially in government setup, that matters a lot. What hierarchy you are following, what modality you are following for the information to pass on, which is acceptable or not, or it may create a problem or issues sometimes. Then appropriate means of communication. So what is the means of communication you're using? Maybe mobile phone, email, or any other means like WhatsApp and all. Then schedule and when the various type of communication. So especially communication plan involve the different stages of plan of the project schedule or project plan. So communication plan is incorporated mostly in the project plan stage itself, so that you can align the reviews and milestones and schedule time and even costs, all those components we have to align in the communication plan so that it will be most effective. Escalation process and time frame for moving issues forward upward. So many issues may happen throughout the project, and how to escalate and whom to escalate, when to escalate, all those aspects should be covered. Method to retrieve information. And project glossary is some typical, suppose there is a technical project, so not necessarily all the team members are technical, so you should have glossary of the different definitions of the different terms or terminology that you are going to follow in the communication, so that everyone will be in this understanding of what you are talking. So that is all you have to do. So you may have to conduct documents which have similar definitions or some index of word, or some sort of standard information that you can incorporate in the communication plan. Next, we are discussing about 4 steps which are involved in the effective communication process. Here also we have to identify the requirements, communication requirements. That means in the plan you should know which mode of communication and when. The next point is why, what, when, where, who. That is 5 W's and 1 H, how. So these aspects of communication should be well defined to make the effective communication in the process itself. Then you have to accommodate the enterprise environmental factors. So every enterprises or every organization, the customer organization as well as your own organization, got own style of communication or own culture of communication, which may differ from country to country, may differ from culture to culture. So we have to take into that account when you are making setting up the process. Identify organizational process assets. So we have to think every organization, they got their own standards or their protocols or assets that into consideration to set up the process of effective communication. Now, what are the major obstacles in communication? Politic, political aspect. That means I'm not talking about national level politics, but within the organization politics, there are many barriers from department to department or even from people to people, group of people. So that political things we have to take into. account, this can be one of the obstacle of flow of communication. Okay, so that you have to take care of. Then cultural aspect, as I said, different organization has got its own culture, work culture. Even country to country, there will be different style of working, professionalism. So that you have to take into account, and that may be obstacle. Linguistic problem is also there, but technology now is helping us in that sense, because many people don't understand. There are many countries we don't understand English. Okay, and then in that context, how to communicate, that itself become a obstacle. So we don't have that every time interpreter, so we need to get a support. Maybe technology help us in this case. Nowadays, how do you prioritize the means of communication and convey what is really required? So these are some aspect bullet points to prioritize. Person, first of all, person, then means of communication, telephony, video conferencing, email, WhatsApp group. So that you have to define, prioritize. First, you will try to communicate in person, directly. In person means directly, to physically, one to one. Then probably next priority can be you can make a call, mobile, telephony. Next probably video conferencing to have a team meeting. Email nowadays very easy aspect to send at any point of time. And WhatsApp group is also now very good, 24/7 ease of sending photographs, videos, and even messages. So that is why it is very handy tools. Now examining the communication factors, uh, paralingual means apart from actual language, words, text, there may be other means of communication that is called paralingual. Then feedbacks we have to examine is your how the people are responding, that you have to take, and accordingly you have to set the tone of your communication. It should not be leading to conflicts. So that is what you have to understand. Active listening, many times when you are talking, the other person looking at how much you are involved in listening. So you should not stop in between, break their communication and pushing your things that may harm your flow of communication or misunderstandings. Effective communication, effective listening rather, is very important. You have to listen the all effectively, so that all the content of the message should grab it. So that is very important. Effective communication. Non-verbal is mostly the facial body language. These are the points to be examined for communication factor. And when you talk to improvisation, which are the areas where you can improvise? First is conflict, how we can develop a skill to handle the conflict of communication, negotiation skill we can say, how we can do that. Then you have better means of communication, soft skill, these are all soft skill, and we require frequent training of your people to develop these things. These skills are very limited, or you can say not inherent. So we have to, some people missing on this. So we have to incultivate that. So cultivate that so that they can adapt to these situations. Templates of communication, you can design some templates, standard formats, so that one can make a clear communication in that particular format, and there will be a proper harmony between the communication. And infrastructure, of course you have to have all infrastructure, internet and all that sort of thing. Thank you very much. This ends our course as well as our chapter. Thank you.